All right, now we got a fun and interesting guest for you guys. Joining me now on the Young Turks, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman from Georgia's 14th District. Congresswoman Greene, good to have you on the Young Turks.
Hi, thanks for having me tonight.
No problem. So normally we disagree a lot, and you've seen some of that. But tonight we're going to talk about something that we might have in common.
I thought that he would open this up with some kind of intro as to why he's having this conversation. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can find the tweet. Okay. We have almost the exact same hair right now. It looks better on you. I don't even know what I look like right now, to be honest. The exact same hair? My hair is greasy and unwashed. You shouldn't brag about that, my friend. I assume they are coming together due to their mutual hate of Jewish people. I saw a clip of this earlier today, and I generally, I do think that people, I assume the best intentions in people, not just because that's just, I think that is my default, but I also think that when they prove you wrong, it is a more powerful moment to show, right? I really didn't think that Cenk or Hassan were actually anti-Semitic. I thought that Hassan was closer to being anti-Semitic than Cenk, but really, I just thought that they were, especially with Hassan, 10 toes down, digging in, fighting for their side, and not smart enough to realize that the things that they're saying aren't just talking points that signal to their side. It like actually is anti-Semitic. There was a point during this that I saw a clip on Twitter earlier today of Cenk giving Marjorie Taylor Greene an out for the Jewish space lasers comments, saying that you're not anti-Semitic and you were misrepresented when people said that you blamed the wildfires on Jewish space lasers. And then he allowed her to explain that she didn't say Jewish space lasers. She just said that the Rothschilds and all of these Jewish interests all together, blah, 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 blah. She lays out the whole conspiracy. And he's like, yeah, well, that's crazy. That happens at some point in this conversation, guys. The fact that he can hear her say that and not push back after saying, like, people said that you were anti-Semitic for this. Can you give us an explanation? And then not push back on it whatsoever? Holy shit. This might actually hate Jewish people. That's unbelievable to me. I really, until that moment, that actually was the actual flip for me to actually think this guy really, even if it's some subconscious level, hates Jewish people. I don't think they're anti-Semitic. They are just leftoid brained. Israel bad because Israel has power. It's not any more complicated than that. Yeah, but I think that I don't think that, and maybe they're not conscious of it. I don't think that they separate Jew and Israel. I don't think they do it. I want to have AI swap their hair because I don't think either of them will look that different. Jesus. That would be interesting to see, but it'd be funny to see. Hassan is awful. He's quite literally no better than Destiny in any realm whatsoever. He sent nudes without consent. He made utilitarian rape arguments. He's awful. Oh, I think Hassan is a bad person. Okay, don't get me wrong. I never said that. I just didn't think that he was actually anti-Semitic. But I have been pushed to that position, ever so slightly onto that position, but there's too much at this point, man. It's like too much, and at a certain point, dude, like I have a pretty high tolerance and a pretty high threshold for for labeling people shit. It just gets to a point where it's too much. If I were home, I'd have their hair swapped already.
Common. And I want to get a little bit of information.
But I wanted to read his posts here. Which one was first? Okay. Big moment on tonight's TYT. Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming on at 8 p.m. We're going to see if we can stop a war together. There are skeptics that right-wing and left-wing populists can work with each other. Well, if there's anything we should work together on, it's to stop a war. And then right before, I guess afterwards, he says, there are a lot of people on the left who say I shouldn't interview Marjorie Taylor Greene. I did anyway because I'm against war with Iran, and so is she. Am I supposed to hate that she's on my side on this issue? Am I supposed to yell at her anyway? Am I supposed to switch my position to spite her? Trying to understand the ridiculous request not to interview a sitting member of Congress on issues you agree on, or trying to understand the ridiculous request not to interview a sitting member of Congress on issues you agree on. I think tribalism is a virus. I bet you some people on the left would be for war with Iran just to oppose her. Don't worry, you're not going to melt if she agrees with you on one or two things. We were against all of these wars first. Take yes for an answer. This is the problem. Okay? We're going to see if we can stop a war together. That's a noble goal. There are skeptics that right-wing and left-wing populists can work together. Who the thinks that? Can we look back in history and left-wing and right-wing populists working together? I can think of two notable examples in the 30s with Germany, both internally and with another country. There was the internal, the far right and the far left worked together to completely obliterate liberalism, and then the Nazis took over. And then the Nazis and the Soviets came together. Those are both populist. They came together and they invaded Poland, started World War II together, best friends until the right-wingers sold them out. Maybe you should think about that history a little bit there, Jenk. But this is the problem here. There's a lot of people on the left who say I shouldn't interview Marjorie Taylor Greene. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't interview her. I did anyway because I'm against a war with Iran and so is she. You guys don't have the same reasons. You guys do not have the same intentions. Intentions matter. Intentions matter. Why does she not want to go to war? Because she wants to be a completely isolationist, like crazy, hyper-religious, like sectarian, pseudo-fascist country. That is actually what Marjorie Taylor Greene wants. She is actually evil. Jake probably just doesn't like war that much and probably doesn't like the idea of like going to war. He just has it as an axiom. But it's not like some broader thing. He just doesn't like war. Marjorie Taylor Greene's is a broader thing. She doesn't want the United States involved in anything ever. Am I supposed to hate that she's on my side on this issue? She's not on your side on this issue. Am I supposed to yell at her anyway? If she says something you disagree with, yeah, you should challenge her. Am I supposed to switch my position to spite her? No. If you're against the war, you should be against the war. But you don't have to break bread and run cover for someone saying that Jews have space lasers. It's insane. He has appeasement brain? No, he has tribalism brain. And his tribe is populists. And he'll sell out every single group in the entire world until he's the one that gets sent to the camps. And I know that's hyperbolic language. Don't get me wrong. I am being hyperbolic there. But it's less hyperbolic now than it was 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
Information about what's happening on the inside in Washington, and see if we can maybe.
Oh, 1 second. Let me catch up with chat, and then we will officially start. IMO progressivism allows for racism more than traditional right-wing views. Or you're sent to understand that you have to judge people individually, while progressives are more prone to categorization. I disagree. I think that is a perception. 1 second. I need to get a glass of water. Holy, my throat is, I can't talk. I'm going to cough. Hi, Sam. But yeah, sourcing, just to like, I think that that's a view I used to subscribe to, and it was like it's like a truism almost. But I don't know, my experiences with conservatives in the past couple of months, I there is something there, but they're just as prone to categorization. They're very good about it. And I think that it's just the forward facing thing that they'll say. It might be what they no, I don't know. I just don't agree. I would have to think about it a lot more. It's almost like populism has a major flaw in that most people are ignorant. Fox, true. I wasn't trying to ignore you, Sam. Sorry. I'm just... You right now? Wait, what did I even say that would have that reaction? So I believe Vosh made a comparison a while ago that's appropriate. Someone on the left doesn't like rich people, and someone on the right doesn't like rich people, but their reasons are completely different. One doesn't like them because they say exploitation. The other says because woke. Even though they agree on a surface level, it doesn't mean much. I mean, yeah, but like it's harder to explain. Like that is an apt explanation. It's just that when it comes to not liking war, like the intention there, it seems like it matters less, but I think that it matters a lot. You just looked at distressed. I am distressed. I actually probably am. Hey, Tron, by the way, cut this out. Okay. I probably am, like clinically depressed. Like in a pretty major and bad way. But luckily my new job that I've been talking about has benefits, so I might consider therapy for the first time in my life. Like, cause I'm like actually pretty pissed all the time. I'm like, it is probably bad for me at this point. This is a cry for help. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's not a cry for help. But I text me later, bro. Listen, yeah. And just so you know, I was also saying this earlier. I'm a really bad friend. I'm just really bad at keeping contact with people, even though I have the desire to. And I think you know that. I'm just really bad at it. So I want to talk to you. You're just gonna have to force me to. Until I figure out how to get past whatever autistic roadblock is in my head. But yeah, like I'm not like in dire straits. I don't think so. Not yet, at least. But I think that I have hit the point where I would admit it would be I would be really mad at one of my friends if I knew that they felt like this and didn't, like, get free therapy from a job, And I also think that it's probably a good thing to be honest with people. Also, I've wanted to say that out loud for a while, but I feel like everyone in my life is going to be like super concerned about me. And I don't need people being concerned about me because it's not that deep yet, right? I've just identified it before it got that deep. But yeah, I'm like super mad all the time, and that needs to change. And I need to be able to solidify thoughts. I had drinks with Sondsol. That is true. All right, Tron, you can start the recording back now. All right.
Prevent a war. So the two sides coming together here on what I hope is a good mission. So let's start on Iran. I'm worried about a war with Iran. It appears you're worried about a war with Iran. Do you know where it stands today within the Trump administration? Because you and Tucker Carlson and others seem so concerned.
I would say, in terms of any kind of war, us being the aggressor or like actively seeking to be in a war, I would say Iran probably is the country that Trump wants to f up the most. I think Trump loves Israel, first off, because he's a boomer and boomers love Israel. I think Trump hates Iran because there's, I think at this point, I think the FBI has just like stated like, yeah, we had intelligence that Iran was actively seeking to kill Trump on the campaign trail. And I think that Trump like actually wants to nuke Iran because of that. Just like things that he has said and like there were some actions that happened at the very beginning of the administration. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, Jesus Christ, that was pretty aggro. But skip to 145 and pause, save it when the tweet gets brought up.
Freshman GOP.
Wait, what is this? Oh, this is the Jewish space laser conspiracy. Okay, got you.
That it makes me more concerned.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And I just want to thank you for having me on your show tonight. I think it's incredibly important that we find common ground as Americans. And that's never a bad thing, even when we do disagree on other issues. So thank you so much. I have been very concerned, and I'll tell you why. A little bit of my background. I'm one of those Americans that are really sick and tired of the narrative that we're constantly told that we're supposed to hate some country that's overseas, that maybe we've never been to. We don't know anything about that country, but we're told that they're the greatest threat to our freedoms and our democracy, and that we have to go to war with them. We saw this. We'll go back to Vietnam. We went to Vietnam and we lost thousands and thousands of American soldiers, and we lost that war. We went into Iraq. We were told we were to look for weapons.
Also, I think she's just reading a tweet that she put out. I think maybe yesterday or the day before. I think these people hate America, man. Like the complete focus on every bad thing, arguably bad thing, or perceived bad thing is the focus of everything that they talk about all the time. But I don't hear any kind of positive outlook on America. I never ever hear them say this is what we ought to see in America. This is the vision for the future. They're complainers, losers. Yes, exactly. And it's like after that whole, hour and a half long rant that you guys just sat through, like you guys can tell I'm very passionate about this stuff. I really do feel like a strong feeling of patriotism for my country. I actually love this country and what it's capable of and the good that it's capable of. I love the good that the United States does. I like my country. It has major issues, but the United States is definitionally awesome. It generates awe. It is the most powerful civilization humankind has ever created. It has military capabilities no other nation or groups of nations on the face of the planet could easily match up to. Certainly no one individually. Its economic power is beyond the comprehension of a single human being. Its cultural reach is more than anything a, a, a civilization before could have dreamed of. The British thought that they were like nutso, having their shit all over the world. People dream of coming to America. People dream of coming to America. But the only things these people ever talk about is how much it sucks, how horrible it is, how bad the other side treats us. Sourcing is right. They are complainers. They're losers. They have no forward vision for what America ought to be for everyone. This is the populist left and right in a nutshell. Okay.
People, calm down.
Yeah. Go to USA, get to detour to El Salvador. And see, like, what are we doing when we have our vice president making jokes about deporting visitors to our country during the World Cup? We live in the most amazing country the world has ever seen, bar none. In almost every single metric. And all these people do is destroy it. I'm in Canada and we are in shock. Listen, this is them. It's not all of us, all right? I genuinely feel bad for Canadians. The amount of friendship and the amount of camaraderie and brotherhood between our nations going back several hundred years at this point, 200 years, is unbelievable. The ties that we have economically, culturally, militarily, and for us to just like shit on them is disgusting. But it's scary he could get elected. I know, it is scary. Well, growing up that USA is everything, but now it's nothing, and I live in Sweden. Well, and it sucks that those are the kinds of opinions that we hear about America now. It does suck, but I don't blame people for saying that. It sucks to hear, but I don't blame people for saying it.
Of mass destruction. Well, we didn't find any, but we ended up being stuck in the Middle East for a long time, and then ended up in Afghanistan looking for Osama bin Laden, and he wasn't there either. And then we were told that
in Afghanistan, well, I think and this is something, America's great. I love it here. I love it here too. I love my country. And I could be pushed on this because I haven't had, you know, I'm not a Middle East history scholar, and I'm not an American history from in the early 2000s scholar, right? Based off of what I know, it seems like Afghanistan was justified in the beginning. And it was good in the beginning. But because we had no end goal, it became a bad thing. I think Osama was in Afghanistan at first, and he fled to Pakistan, right? Was that a hospital sock? Yeah, I keep it on my microphone because it pisses people off. But yeah, so like I think that based off of what I know, Afghanistan was justified. That was not a bad thing that we did. The bad thing was not having the political will to leave. And not having the political will to have a vision for what that country looked like once we left, you know? But those Democrats were insane. Ugh, you're in a bad place for this. The fuck are we talking about? All sorts of stuff, dude. Large March is a piece of crap. Jesus, never heard Large March.
The oil in the Middle East would make us rich, and we were told that rare earth minerals in Afghanistan would also make us rich. Well,
Yeah, but then we left. We didn't. We abdicated the country. But that was your guy who made the deal, right? Like you didn't. Trump negotiated that deal without involving the Afghanistan government, and that led to the lack of trust that they had, and probably led to the downfall of that country. I don't know why she would be mad about we didn't even get the rare earth metals. That was on Trump. He should have added that into the deal, and then, actually made a deal that involved the Afghan. I keep on almost saying ANC, but that's South Africa. The Afghanistan. What was it? Was it the ANA? The Afghanistan? Was it the ANA? Oh, I guess it was the ANA. Me. Skynet coming. You're an idiot. We got the opium from them. Biden did the deal. Didn't we slash and burn all of their poppy fields? Wasn't that like a major criticism of the Obama administration and the Trump administration, that we made them slash and burn all their poppy fields because instead of, helping them regulate it? The Taliban allowed bin Laden to stay in Afghanistan, but bin Laden fled. Then the U.S. took sides in a lengthy civil war. The Taliban finally returned to power. Yeah. So so sounds like my assessment is correct. Like the beginning of the war in Afghanistan was justified in the way that the war in Iraq was not. But because we didn't have a long-term goal and we just stayed there, it just was bad at the end. Hell no, we protected. I was there. Listen, I don't know a lot about that war. I can only have so much knowledge in my mind. It's ironic America didn't go after Saudi Arabia even when most of the hijackers were Saudis. Well, I don't know if that matters. People keep on saying that, but if there were a bunch of people that were from one country, but then joined an extremist group in another country and then attacked a third country, would we hold that first country responsible? I genuinely don't know because I've never looked into it. But yeah. Then stop talking about it. We're having a conversation, Lesbo. Okay, Jesus Christ. If I say something that don't have a lot of confidence in, you'll know. Okay, I won't say something with low confidence confidently.
Well, that didn't. We're $36 trillion in debt. And for me, I'll just be really direct. I'm unapologetically for our country, the United States of America, and I want to fix our problems here at home. And I believe that's what everyone's hard-earned tax dollars are really supposed to be used for. And,
I do have an issue with my ear that makes bad audio quality like actually hurt in my left ear. I don't know why these multi-million-dollar politicians can't afford a $20 shirt, like cheap ass Amazon, what do you call them? This kind of mic. I can't think of the type of mic it is, but it's not a dynamic mic. It's the one that starts with a C, and it's gonna kill me. Types of microphones. It's going to kill me. Condenser. Like, you can get one for $20 and it won't hurt my ear and it won't sound bad. Your lighting is okay, even though it's a little washing you out, but like the audio is just so bad. I don't get it.
I just don't buy the narrative anymore. We've been told for years and years and years, and longer than I can remember, that Iran is on the verge of having a nuclear weapon, but we continually ignore the ones that have nuclear weapons, like India, Pakistan. They're actually,
What do you want to do about India and Pakistan having nuclear weapons? What do you think we're going to do about that? You think they're going to give them up? Good enough for heaven, ever lied or stolen before, ever cursed, ever lusted or hated anyone before. I've done all of those things at the same time, all of them to your mother.
So starting a war with each other right now. What about North Korea? They have nuclear weapons. China, Russia, we have nuclear.
Yeah, but Iran also having nuclear weapons would be a bad thing. Iran actually is a really bad country. It's they probably have what would be closest to what you could call an evil regime, them in Russia, on Earth. Like they have caused so much death and destruction in the Middle East. The idea that Iran having a nuclear weapon because North Korea has a nuclear weapon, like that not being a big deal because North Korea has a nuclear weapon, is ludicrous.
Nuclear weapons. Many countries have nuclear weapons, but yet the problems that I see and the people that I know deal with problems like drug addiction.
Comment on the Indian version. I don't know a goddamn thing about that conflict. But I know that there were a lot of funny memes that came out of India at the beginning of the Israel Gaza conflict. So I'm looking forward to those memes. I don't even know when I'm going to have time to look into that issue. I know the very broad strokes when it comes to Kashmir, but I don't know anything else. I just know that there is a location and they both want it.
And overdose. Mental health is a great concern in America today. And we've really...
Well, let's see. Marjorie Taylor Greene, have you ever co-sponsored or sponsored a bill that increased funding for and increased access to mental health services?
They got to do something to make everything affordable for every single person that lives in this country. And here's the bottom line. My job title is United States House of Representatives. I'm a representative for the United States for Georgia's 14th district. And that means that we've got to focus here at home instead of worrying about running off and going to another war.
Guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene, when you swore your oath of office and you assumed the role of congressperson, you had to start dealing with stuff that didn't happen just inside of the United States. You hold the responsibility to vote to go to war or not. You have the power to enact trade deals, to vote for that. You don't get to abdicate your role as a policymaker for America's foreign policy just because it's too difficult for you.
Or another foreign war that we don't belong in.
Yep. Okay, we're living very interesting times because a lot of people on the left say don't even have Marjorie Taylor Greene on, and if you do, you got to yell at her, etc. And so we asked our audience, Representative Greene, on our website tyt.com whether we should have you on, and it looks like, what is that? 82% say yes. So
see, all of these people thought that they were going to have her on for an argumentative, a combative interview. That's not what happened.
And here you are. And once you come on, it turns out, oh, wait, you agree with us on Iran? And by the way, you agree with us on Vietnam and Iraq. So if we can actually prevent a war together, that would be amazing. So, but now let's talk about, yes, but how deep is it right now? I know for the Iraq war, they did a lot of propaganda, and Young Turks been around forever. We're the longest running show in internet history.
I'll look into it eventually. I just don't have time to right now.
And so we were on the air for the Iraq war, and at the time, Ben Mankiewicz and I were like, no, don't go. They did.
Dr. Demand says, Italy has more influence culturally than the USA. You are a coping New York Italian, and I can tell. Okay? I can tell that you're a coping New York Italian because no one on the face of the planet thinks about Italy except for New York Italians. Anyways, by the way, if you guys are watching on YouTube, please like the stream. If you're watching on the short stream, you just got to double tap the screen. I see 6 likes on the short stream right now. Let's see if we can bump those numbers up. How's everyone doing? Just checking in with chat. How's everyone feeling over there? If you're watching on the big screen on the YouTube stream, please like the stream as well. If you want to know a little bit about me, I am Sondsol. I'm a political science student. I live in Washington, D.C. I am on track to be working with the Democratic Party, and I am full of rage. They always say this shit of nobody wants us to talk to you. Yeah, I don't understand that either because, like, yeah, people like watching their favorite politician own another politician. They like watching their favorite political creator own the opposition. They love that shit. Why would you not think that your audience just doesn't want you to suck them off and agree with them the entire time, Hi, 1v1 me. Yeah, let's go right now. Let's fight. Okay, I'm gonna have to just keep on watching it. You guys are typing too much.
Yes, but how deep is it right now? Like, I know for the Iraq War, they did a lot of propaganda, and Young Turks been around forever. We're the longest running show in internet history, and so we were on the air for the Iraq War. And
he says that a lot. Is that true? The longest running show in internet history? Maybe news show, but in longest running show? Smosh has been around for a long time. I don't know.
And at the time, Ben Manquist and I were like, no, don't go. They didn't attack us, right? But they built up a lot of propaganda before they went in and did the attack. In this case, it looks like there's some significant drama, moving of the chairs around in the Pentagon, in the National Security Advisor group. So do you have a better sense of how close we are to war right now?
Well, there was a development today. I've been constantly saying for several weeks now, I've never seen a Houthi or a Houthi or however you pronounce it.
Did something happen? Did something happen that makes people think we're about to go to war with Iran? Like specifically, I don't think that it's the most unlikely thing in the entire world, but let's be real. I don't think that we're looking for that right now. Well, Trump could do anything. He could just decide, yeah, we are going to war with Iran right now because they tried to assassinate me. Maybe first to call themselves a show model after normal TV. Maybe.
I don't even know what they look like. I haven't seen them back home in Rome, Georgia, where I live. I haven't seen them in Washington, D.C. And I keep saying that how is this a threat to everyday Americans when they are not threatening us here at home in our homeland?
Well, the Houthis specifically are blockading a major trade route that has increased prices for people here at home. I know that Republicans all of a sudden don't care about prices increasing, but that was one of the reasons why inflation went up, is because there was now an entire section of the ocean that was not allowed to be sailed through. So that was one thing that was bad. Also, the United States has a reputation and a responsibility that we have assumed ourselves to be the world's free trade police, which has given us all of the benefits that we have today, all of the wealth that we have today. So we want to hold on to that role as the world's trade police, and so that everyone can continue doing that. So yeah, it's really bad that the Houthis are doing this. Yes.
I think this narrative broke through, and I was excited to see President Trump say today from the White House.
Chanano says, we were gaslighted under Biden that all of this inflation was transitory. Oh, the inflation went up and then the inflation went down? As in it came and it went? As if it was transitory?
During one of his press conferences that there has been communication with the Houthis.
Oh, wait, hold on. Does that... Oh, it has it for March. It doesn't have it for April yet.
With Yemen, and they have decided that they have said they won't bomb ships anymore. And President Trump said, well, we will not bomb the Houthis. So I think that that's significant, and I was very happy to hear it.
Oh, this also was crazy. The fact that Trump made a deal with the Houthis without involving Israel, mind you. This was another unilateral discussion to stop fighting between, the deal was, we'll stop bombing you and you stop bombing us. But the Houthis are still going to continue bombing ships in the Red Sea and bombing Israel. So we just bombed them a whole bunch and wasted, tens of millions of dollars, actually hundreds of millions of dollars, because we lost 2 planes over the sides of the aircraft carrier, not to mention all the cost of the munitions. Hundreds of millions of dollars on this operation for no effect. What the?
But I also think it was important to speak out. And I thought it was important to remind everyone here in Washington that always seems to forget the campaign promises that are made on the campaign trail, that the biggest part of this campaign.
You know what's really crazy? The new pope is in my garden right now eating berries by the handful. Not sure what to do, not sure who to do. Well, you told the right guy. I'm very interested, and I'll be over in 10 minutes, okay?
One of them was no more foreign wars, no matter which country it is. We don't want to go to war for Ukraine. We don't want to go to war against Iran. I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel. And many Americans agree with that. So I was pleased to see President Trump's announcement today that there had been communication and they said no more bombs.
So look.
But the Houthis are still going to continue doing we didn't stop them from doing anything. Every single deal Trump has made since he's gotten into office, every single thing that he has done has been embarrassing for him. What the? He looks like an Oblivion character. Jesus Christ. One second, I need to recover from that. Jesus, that's unbelievably brutal.
First, credit where credit is due. When Netanyahu asked him to bomb Iran and Trump didn't, about a week or 2 weeks ago, I was...
This scum fat piece of shit blockhead. What the does this stupid piece of shit actually think that that under Joe Biden, that if Netanyahu asked the United States to bomb Iran, that we would do it? Does he think that Trump is the first statesman to stand up to Israel and say, no, we will not start a world war for you? Are you?
I was very happy about that, and I gave Trump credit for that. And now you're, reporting more good news about, not bombing Yemen anymore. We'll see if that holds. But Representative Green, we're having these conversations.
I don't understand why we would want them to. Marjorie Taylor looks like this. You people are cruel. You people are cruel. I lost my train of thought.
Be coming anymore. We'll see if that.
Oh,
holds.
I was gonna say, when it comes to the Houthis, I'm not sure we should stop bombing the Houthis. I'm kind of torn on that because there's a good argument for we're wasting a lot of munitions on not effectuating great change, and those munitions are pretty expensive. On the other hand, the Houthis are a terrorist group, and I don't like terrorists that much, so I don't know why we're making deals with them to stop bombing them where we give them everything and get nothing in return.
Representative Green, we're having these conversations
Chano, if you think that I'm saying anything wrong, you can type in ! Discord, and you can join the Discord, and you can jump into a voice call with me, and you can tell me exactly what I'm saying that's incorrect.
Because the Trump
No blue cards, because I don't want to get banned. So if you say racial slurs in my chat, we're going to have to ban you because that's the only way that I can protect myself from getting banned.
Administration is filled with neocons. If it wasn't filled with neocons, we wouldn't need this conversation. He said anti-war. You're very clear about that. You're super clear about that. I'm clear about it. But all of a sudden, we're having a conversation about how we might go to war. So how do you think the neocons get?
What sparked this conversation? Do we have any? Is there any Netanyahu's pushing for an Iran war, but Trump holds back for now. I don't know what the nation is, so I don't know what the skew is on this. So in Donald Trump's Washington, where chaos and ever-tightening authoritarian, Waltz lost his position not just for general militarism, but because Waltz was allying himself with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and pushing for an American attack on Iran. On Saturday, the Washington Post reported that Waltz fell out of favor in part because he appeared to have engaged in intense coordination with Netanyahu about military operations against Iran ahead of an Oval Office meeting between the Israeli leader and Trump. Oof. American attack for decades. Okay. So it was because of Waltz.
Got there, and how powerful do you think they are within the Trump administration?
Well, I would say they're powerful on both sides of the aisle, to be honest with you. We saw Democrats in the House and Senate vote overwhelmingly to fund the war in Ukraine. And we saw Republicans do the same thing in the House and the Senate. So I would say this is not a one party problem. This is a two-party problem. And this is also the military industrial complex that is
military industrial complex. There's always some giant amorphous conglomeration that's rolling everything and causing everything bad to happen. Things don't just happen. Everything bad that happens is because of people that I personally don't like.
very, very powerful because they keep, no matter what administration it is, they somehow find a way to get their foreign wars. However, I really give President Trump a lot of credit for standing up against this. And the announcement he said today was, I think, extremely significant. But we still have a long ways to go. And no matter who is president of the United States, it's the most powerful person in the world. That's who President Trump is right now. And everybody is texting him, calling him, and doing everything they can to get in the Oval Office or to somehow find time with him on the weekends.
And also, like, this just ain't true. One second.
Everybody is texting powerful, but we still have a long ways to go. And no matter who is president of the United States, it's the most powerful person in the world. That's who President Trump is right now. And everybody is texting him, calling him, and doing everything they can to get in the.
And see, like, that's the other thing. Like, they keep on telling us that everybody's trying to talk to Trump. Everyone's trying to make a deal with Trump. We have X amount of, like, how many deals do they say they have in the works all the sudden? But they still haven't spoken to China? You need to watch Richie from Boston. Never heard of him. I stand united with the people of Israel because I have a cousin who is a rabbi in Israel. There's people, looks like there's pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel people in my chat. I don't like, listen, the factions on both sides right now, I was in listen, the Israel thing at this point, I wash my hands of it. At this point, like, there's so much going on here that I can't focus on that shit. But it's tragic. We are rotting our, what the fuck does that mean, Teddy Bundy? You're so involved. Yeah, I'm super involved.
Oval Office or to somehow find time with him on the weekends. So I don't think they'll let up anytime soon. But I will say this: I think it's up to the American people to continue to voice their concerns and express what they want out of this government. And I think that's important, no matter who's in charge. And so I hope we continue to have this conversation, and I hope we continue to just make sure what people want is said louder than the small minority here in Washington, D.C. that wants more foreign wars.
You know, I'm going to move on to Israel in a little bit and free speech and all that, but a couple more on Iran here because it's so monumentally important. So look, John Fetterman's saying that we should bomb.
Countdown to normalcy. Your country goes down all four for Israel. Trump really likes Israel.
Iran right now. He's a Democrat. I'm deeply disappointed in him. Kamala Harris wrapped her arms around Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney during the campaign. I thought it was a disastrous idea. I said it many times. The neocons are not our friends. And if you're a Democrat and you're embracing neocons.
This guy is trying so hard to save face after getting absolutely embarrassed by saying, oh, well, I'm a progressive. And I realize now, after Kamala Harris loses the election, I realize now that MAGA isn't my enemy. It's really the establishment that's my enemy. And really, I need to break bread with these people because they agree with me a lot more than they disagree with me. And they go on to literally do the exact opposite of every single one of his foundational principles in direct defiance of the law. And he's still cucked. He's still cucked. He's still digging in his heels and spreading his ass cheeks, spreading it open for MAGA people to fuck him some more.
It makes no sense. No ideological sense. It's not.
Oh man, I can see that we have extremists from both sides of this Israel-Palestine conflict in my YouTube chat. Unfortunately, both of you people are absolutely deranged, and I have no sympathy for anything bad that happens to you.
principled. It just makes, so if you want to say Liz Cheney did the right thing for about January 6th hearings, et cetera, probably we could debate that, but I understand that part. But don't go in a neocon direction. Now, having said all that, I'm being honest about it. If Trump does attack Iran, how disappointed will you be in Trump?
I don't see a need to attack.
Please read this. The anti-war people Cenk is bending over. Support this guy. Dear MAGA, I know many of you are upset at Trump's pro-war picks. You expected him to be anti-war. When is this from? November 12th, 2024. I hate to tell you, but your favorite independent media hosts were lying to you the entire time. Here's Trump's first-term foreign policy. Increased drone strikes, 432%. 2,243 drone strikes in his first 2 years alone, more than 8 years of Obama. Kept us in Iraq, kept us in Afghanistan, 333% increase in civilian deaths in Afghanistan. Bombed Syria twice, bombed Somalia, occupied a third of Syria to take the oil. Increased the military budget every year. Let Israel illegally annex the Golan Heights, which is Syrian. Assassinated a top Iranian commander who was fighting ISIS. Listen, I don't agree with Kulinski's. I don't agree with Kulinski's foreign policy all the way. Okay, listen, I didn't like that guy. He was a bad guy. Tried to coup Venezuela, ripped up the Iran agreement, armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide in Yemen, and vetoed a bill to cut off the weapons. Dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. Hired John Bolton, Mike Pompeo, and Gina Haspel, all insane neocon warmongers, and let them run his foreign policy. Pardoned Blackwater war criminals. Signed pro-torture executive order. His first military raid as president killed a little American girl. Okay, I don't know why we just read that. I would like to keep watching the video.
Iran. I don't see a need or understand a reason to
Is
attack
that a monitor from 1979? It is a CRT TV so that I can play my old video games.
Iran, and the American people don't want a war with Iran. For the past several years during the Biden administration, we saw our own borders overrun every single day. And I serve on the Homeland Security Committee, and I can't tell you how many stories, there are too many stories to even comprehend, from families who lost their family member to fentanyl poisoning or perhaps some other type of illegal alien crime or murder, whether it was a car accident or an actual rape and murder. And these are the stories I think we should be paying attention to. And
Jake's not going to push back on this whatsoever. He's not going. Is he really going to just platform the insane Jewish space laser lady because they both just hate Israel that much? He's not going to push back on her at all.
And this is what matters to me. Our border matters to me, and the American people matter to me. And that'll be my continued focus, and that will be my.
Do a stream about something. If you type in exclamation point here, I'll do it right here. If you type in exclamation point Discord and you join my Discord, click that link that's going to pop up here in just a second. You can join the Discord and that's a place where you can link me stuff. If you want me to go over it, there's a little channel in there where you can copy and paste links for me to go over on stream. And if you disagree with something that I'm saying and you want to argue with me about it, you can also join the Discord and join the voice channel. There is an open invitation to debate, unless you're acting like a schizo, in which case I'd probably just not debate you.
Continued voice, my public voice.
By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, please like the stream. If you're watching on Twitch, subscribe and give me money and shit, okay?
We should be paying attention to, and this is what matters to me. Our border matters to me, and the American people matter to me. And that'll be my continued focus, and that will be my continued voice, my public voice, as well as my private voice, and when I get to speak with the president.
Okay, and you do get to speak with the president, and I don't, so that's important that you deliver that message. So we appreciate it.
Thank you for the sub, my friend.
Amazing.
I appreciate that. She just went on. She just gave a political stump speech. She is the antithesis of progressive politics, mind you. And for people that are watching, you guys don't know who I am. I'm not a hyper-progressive person, okay? I'm not a hyper-progressive person. This woman's crazy. if you're going to have someone on that is going to say crazy shit that you don't agree with, that you think is hateful shit, you should probably push back.
Matter to me. Intention or murder, whether it was a car accident or an actual rape and murder. And these are the stories I think we should be paying attention to. And this is what matters to me. Our border matters to me, and the American people matter to me. And that'll be my continued focus, and that will be my continued voice, my public voice, as well as my private voice. And when I get to speak with the president.
Okay, and you do get to speak with the president, and I don't, so that's important that you deliver that message. So we appreciate it, or at least I appreciate it. I'll speak for myself. And so one last thing on Iran. Look, Iran was in basically a peace deal with us during the Obama years, and we got to take most of their uranium out of their country, so they had no ability to develop nuclear weapons. I thought it was a great deal, and I criticize people on all sides, and I criticize Obama for a lot of things, but I thought that was actually one of his better accomplishments, keeping us out of the war and making sure Iran didn't get nukes. How about going back into that deal?
Well, I think a deal would be important, and perhaps that's what the Trump administration and President Trump is working towards. He's made that commitment that he doesn't want Iran to ever have a nuclear weapon, and so I'm sure there is a major effort there to make sure it doesn't happen. Here's the situation though: is I'll go back to this. Unless Iran is directly attacking America, attacking the American people, I'm more of like, let's focus at home. We have.
Here's the thing. I don't think anyone, who the f is pushing for war with Iran right now? Can someone explain that to me? Like, we read the article, that guy got moved. Just because someone asks us to do something doesn't mean that we have to do it. Is it a serious consideration right now?
Tremendous problems here at home, as well as looking at other countries that we don't want to get sucked into their foreign wars. And Ukraine is another one that I think that we need to make sure that we stay out of. These are all of these countries, when we're talking about these geopolitical conflicts, these are places that have had conflicts, some of them longer than I've been alive. And I turned 51 at the end of this month. So whether it's the Middle East or, some kind of conflict over in Eastern Europe or wherever it is, I really think for me, my main focus is let's fix.
But like the problem is like you guys aren't fixing America either, because like our economy is like getting giga raped by President going into office and just shitting on everything, just walking into a room and taking an explosive diarrhea shit over the entire economy. Like I don't know how else to say it. Like, you're not helping our foreign policy. You're not helping in that regard. And you're certainly not focusing here at home, because our economy is in the shitter. People's 401ks are getting raped. Inflation is increasing. Unemployment is going up. Do we actually fix something by stopping what you guys are doing now?
Fix America. Let's fix our problems, because our problems are quite significant.
Yeah. All right. So now a related issue, because I think the neocons got there because of campaign donations, and Israel has taken about $300 billion adjusted for inflation over their lifetime from America, or we've given it to them because they're a special ally, whatever that means. I don't know what it means. And so I actually said that the other day, and somebody on social media, right winger on social media, was like, "Hey, Grok, is that true?" And Grok was like, "Actually, it's a little higher. It's around $311 billion." So, do we have to keep giving money to Israel, or can we just say, hey, that's enough? You're a grown-up country. You're one of the top 20 economies in the world. You have universal health care. We don't. You have paid family leave. We don't.
I've never cared to look into like the breakdown of what the aid that we give over to Israel is. I would be so curious to see what the breakdown of that is and to see if it's like actually a bad thing.
Is it time to stop giving money to Israel?
I would say it's time to stop giving money to pretty much every single country around the world.
Which is just like an abdication of responsibility of the United States and an abdication of all possible goodwill with any country. Like the reason we give countries money is because money buys influence. We're buying influence with other countries all over the world, because the more countries we have on our side, the less countries are on the side of our enemies. Like I'm being super reductive. Let me be clear. I know that I'm being reductive, but I'm given the basics where we get something when we spend money. We get something when we spend money. Now, there is a balance there, but that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for a balance. They're looking to slash and burn.
I'm very much against foreign donations to countries all over the world, especially when we're in $36 trillion in.
And if, again, there is an open invitation. If you think what I'm saying right now is incorrect, you can type in !Discord and you can join the Discord and you can jump into a voice call with me and you can tell me what I'm saying that's incorrect. Like Vincere says, you are a typical misinformed idiot. Sorry, I don't know what I've said that's incorrect. Maybe you could come into voice and tell me.
That it saddens me to see homeless veterans on our streets.
We can be friends without money. That is true. But usually relationships between countries are transactional. All of our allies, all of our closest allies, we have transactional relationships with them. Good transactional relationships. We both get stuff out of it. We both enjoy each other's cultures and stuff like that. But we're not getting something for nothing.
It saddens me talking to senior citizens that can hardly afford to pay rent or pay.
A 20% tax increase on the cheapest goods in the country is definitely going to help with that.
For their medications and food. I really think that our money needs to stay.
And didn't maybe I'm mixing up two stories, and you guys can call me on this if I am. I might be mixing up two stories. Did Trump not announce tariffs on pharmaceuticals? Am I wrong on that? I could just Google it. Trump tariff. Bro, are you a musician? I am a musician. President Trump's threat of pharmaceutical tariffs. Yeah. So, like, are the pharmaceutical tariffs supposed to make those medications for the seniors who can't afford it right now cheaper?
And fix our own problems. But I'd also like to remind you, it's both sides of the aisle. With the Ukraine war, even AOC voted to fund the Ukraine war. It's Republicans and Democrats.
Because war is bad, but it's not bad because it's war. It's bad because someone is doing something to someone else and people are having to die to defend themselves. That is what a war is. There's usually an aggressor and there's usually a defender. When it comes to Ukraine, the aggressor and the defender is very obvious. It's very easy to draw the moral lines there. I will never hold it against a politician to send military aid to a country that's defending themselves from an aggressor.
Democrats together, and the uniparty is real. It is definitely a real thing here in Washington, and they're driven to continue funding foreign aid and funding.
Why don't you name and shame them then? Why don't you say exactly who are the real Republicans? Why don't you just name and shame every single one of them?
Countries and funding foreign wars. And I think that is, I don't know how to break that cycle. I do the best I can by being very vocal about it, as I'm one member of Congress out of 435, but I will continue urging that direction to go in.
So it's certainly bipartisan, yes. Both parties are very happy to give more and more money to Israel. I'm sure the fact that AIPAC was the #1 donor in this campaign cycle is just a coincidence, just randomly. It wouldn't affect it.
There's some weird stuff. It feels like every single time the Jews get brought up, they get weird and cagey about it. I don't know what the deal is
at all. I hear from mainstream media reporters that politicians don't care about money. But let's continue a little bit more, because Trump said this wild plan about how we were going to take.
Warhawks need to leave USA. I need to know what people mean by Warhawk. I don't desire war, but I think that it should be something that we join the correct side of if we're going to join it. The MAGA who yells about draining the swamp should start with Elon Musk. Elon gets $8 million every day from tax dollars. That's true.
Over Gaza, and we're going to own Gaza, and we were going to take care of the unexploded bombs for Israel in Gaza. I assume you're against all that?
Yes, I'm not supporting that. I'm not interested in taking over some.
We could give all our people universal health care instead of giving billions to other countries. No, that's actually just simply not true. And we could have universal health care and pay for it at the same time. The fact that we're giving aid to other countries does not hold us back from universal health care at all.
Part of the Middle East. I'm unapologetically American, and I can't repeat that message loud enough and over again. We've got people in Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Northeast Georgia.
All right, this is the last time I'm going to pause for like the next 5 minutes, okay, to respond to chat, just because we got to get through the video. But Toby, 36 trillion in debt says otherwise. National debt is not necessarily a bad thing. Deficit spending is not necessarily a bad thing. Again, if you want to argue, if you think that I'm incorrect there, you can jump into a voice call with me, but I can't spend the entire time arguing with chat.
That their homes have still not been rebuilt from Hurricane Helene. Look at over in California, Malibu, where many people's homes were destroyed from the wildfires. And we could name different parts of the country, Lahaina, Hawaii, and on and on. And before we go in and try to clean up anybody else's mess, or pay for reconstruction in any country, whether it's Gaza or Ukraine, and I don't think we should be doing that either. I think we should rebuild here in America and help Americans first.
All right,
Ever since I can remember, going back to when I was in high school, and I'm almost 30 now, I can remember the meme about Republicans. Why don't we help our veterans? Why don't we help struggling families? Why don't we help the poor? Why are we helping all these other countries when we could be doing this? And then they go and proceed to vote against helping anyone inside of our own country. They talk about spending money elsewhere is evil. We should be spending money here. And then they say we shouldn't be spending money here either. I don't know what the Republican Party stands for.
Go to America, and as these issues affect us here at home. So now people are getting snatched up off the streets. Mahmoud Halil, Öztürk, who wrote an op-ed.
Not me. Most Republicans are in support of universal health care and other welfare services. I am a political science student. I know that you are incorrect. Sorry.
Against Israel or criticizing the current Israeli government. And now they're arrested and potentially deported. And they were here legally on visas or as on green cards. Seems to be a direct attack on freedom of speech. What's your stance on those arrests?
Well, I think freedom of speech extends to Americans. I haven't really been vocal on any.
Our Constitution, people talk about the Fifth Amendment when we're talking about due process. And I'm not a legal scholar. I'm not a constitutional law scholar. I am currently getting my undergrad in political science. So I might be a little bit wrong. However, we go to the US Constitution, Fifth Amendment. It says this: no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia when in actual service in time of war or public danger. So, what is it saying here? No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury. What they're saying is, you're not going to be held responsible, legally responsible for something unless there is some legal process that we're going to get a grand jury indictment. You have to be indicted. You have to have something that says we have evidence that we're going to take you to court with, and we are going to try and put you in jail. We can't hold you in jail until we have that indictment. Obviously, with some reasonable, like 3-day holds while people are getting the indictments. So, but we know about these. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor deprived of life, liberty, or property, without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. There is a word that Marjorie Taylor Greene just brought up when it comes to due process, when it comes to the Constitution, right? And I'm pretty sure the First Amendment also holds true on this one. We can check. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. The word that Marjorie Taylor Greene used that does not appear in these amendments is the word citizen. Citizen. She does not realize, willfully or otherwise, she does not realize that the Constitution applies to all persons in the United States, unless it explicitly says otherwise. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against the unreasonable searches and seizures. I think once you get to the 14th Amendment, I think that's when you start saying shit about citizens. I don't think that there is mention of citizens in the Bill of Rights. Yeah, I don't see the word citizen until the 11th Amendment. What's the 5th have to do with foreign spending? Oh, I'm specifically commenting on what Marjorie Taylor just said, to be clear.
And they were here legally on visas or as on green cards. Seems to be a direct attack on freedom of speech.
So I believe, I realize that I have become radicalized into capital L liberalism. I believe in the promise of America. I love the ideals of the Enlightenment, the form of government that we have. I love my country. And I love the Constitution. I think it's amazing. I don't say that as a joke or to be soy. I mean it from the bottom of my heart as someone who genuinely loves this country. I love the Constitution. And that's why when people are trying to make these arguments that freedom of speech only applies if you're a citizen, and then we're also going to try and get rid of people's ability to, or get rid of the birthright citizenship, it sounds to me like we're trying to minimize freedom of speech and minimize freedoms as much as possible. It's terrifying. And the fact that she's not pushing back on it when Republicans were the champions of freedom of speech should be terrifying to everyone. I don't care about anything else. Gas is $2.60. It was $2.30 under Biden. That tells me he's failed. Based.
What's your stance on those arrests?
They restrict anti-fascist speech. I don't think that they do. I don't know what you mean by that. I will say that the weird freedom of speech attacks on like anything, the anti-Semitism bills, I haven't looked at those, but just like the concept of having hate speech laws are a little bit spooky to me. So.
Well, I think freedom of speech extends to Americans. I haven't
Jerry Robertson, I know more about the Constitution than you.
really been vocal on any of those issues. That's been more some of my other Republican colleagues that have been addressing those issues. I think being an American citizen is a pretty special privilege. But if you're here on a visa or a green card, then I think you should be respectful towards America and the people that we stand with. And so if they've done something wrong, then I have no problem with them being deported.
It's just that the fact that I think 80% or more of them didn't actually have any criminal record whatsoever. It's like actually appalling the commitment to being evil this administration is doing. It is unconscionable. they might have some kind of moral argument if they actually did send the kinds of people that they're saying they sent. But man, these are just Joe Schmo random people, gay barbers and shit. And like, I know I see you people in chat. You guys are very, very cool for how cruel you are. I get it. It's very cool. I get it. It does bother me. I get edginess, and I can be edgy too, but like at a certain point, your soul is rotting because you're more committed to defending Donald Trump than you are to defending all of his actions than you are to having any principles. 1 second. Where the is my OBS? There it is. Sondsol, your rights. What is this? 60-minute investigation found no. Ad block. 60 Minutes investigation found no criminal record for 75% of the Venezuelan migrants Trump imprisoned in El Salvador. Yeah, Trump cut regulations and allowed more drilling. Are you talking about right now? Because I haven't been. People keep on saying that. I have not been able to find a single piece of evidence that drilling has increased in the past couple of months. And that's just because all the information is from last year. I haven't seen any recent data unless it's come out in the past week. Okay. Anyways, continuing.
Right. If it turns out that the reporting is accurate, and Öztürk as an example, the Turkish student up in
Day one executive order. Just because there was an executive order doesn't mean that drilling has begun. It doesn't mean that there is production has increased. Sondsol was called Google, my friend. Oh, thanks, Tiffany. I hadn't considered that. Deport MAGA based. Well, that's not how the world works. What the do you mean? He's given more land leases for drilling? What? Okay.
Tufts. She just wrote an op-ed. Didn't do anything else. Didn't say anything against America. Just criticizing Israel and calling for an economic boycott. The Supreme Court has said that freedom of speech and our Constitution applies to everybody in the country, including resident aliens. That's legal aliens who have a green card and people.
I'm going to leave before I say something I can't take back. Why don't you jump into voice call? I've been waiting for someone to be mean to me. So many people have been telling me that I'm wrong in chat, and yet nobody wants to talk to me in voice and tell me what I've said that's wrong.
On visas. So it could corrode our freedom of speech if they're not allowed to criticize Israel. Does it bother you that it's just this
people on wait, hold on. People on visas do not have rights? Oh, so you can go out right now and rape people who are on visas? You can go up to them and you can murder them with no repercussions? They don't have speech rights. Oh, why do you think that? Because there is a plethora of case law, both appellate courts, circuit courts, and the Supreme Court that says that all persons inside the United States, regardless of citizenship, have the rights in the Constitution. The Constitution applies to all persons inside of the United States. And you know what? In fact, this pesky thing for the executive branch called the legislative branch, the Supreme Court actually handed down a 9-0 verdict saying that, yes, actually, Donald Trump, civil rights apply to human beings in the United States, not just to citizens. You can deport any, but they still get due process, Toby. They still get due process. Toby has to be a troll? No, because a lot of people actually believe this. This is why I'm actually engaging with it. I'm in the waiting room, but I'm not here to be antagonistic. Listen, Tiffany Starr, if I want to argue with if I want to talk to someone right now, I'm going to argue with them. I might not be mean, but I'm going to argue with them. And I don't know if I don't want to be mean. It's been a long time since we've talked. And the last time I interacted with you, you were like heavily alcoholic, and we're very alcoholic on stream. And I'm a little bit old for that sort of stuff now. So love you to death. Not trying to be mean, but like, okay, let me catch back up with chat. Not without due process. I mean, they can if they want to go against the Constitution. Yeah, exactly. They get due process when they committed a crime. You actually get due process whenever the United States is accusing you of crime or trying to do something to you. When the government is doing something to you, you get due process. The USA labels them illegal, not me. Actually, a good chunk of the people who were deported were not illegal. They were actually cooperating with the process. And what kind of message is it to people who are following the process? What kind of message is it to them that even if you follow the process, you could be ripped up, deported to a country that you've never been to before in your entire life, and thrown into a prison full of the most deplorable gang members and terrorists you have ever seen in your life? They were complying. They were doing what we asked them to. In what world, in what country would you want to live in where you're following the law one day and the next time there's an election and someone doesn't like that law, you could be sent to a foreign country in a pain prison? Spoiler, we don't give a shit. Yes, I understand that. You people are actually insane. Like I don't try to make people not conservative on my channel. I don't try to convince people not to be conservative, but I do try to convince people not to be evil people. I've been talking to some conservatives that I disagree with, right? Who are trying to do the whole Giga Chad, yeah, I don't care about people's rights. But behind the scenes, they're like, I think this is like really f***ed up, and hopefully it doesn't, devolve any further past this, I'm not a conservative. I used to be a Dem before they came insane. I'm sorry. If you think that the Democrats are more insane than the Republicans at this point, you're lost. I don't know what to tell you. Breaking laws is evil, right? No, that is a crazy statement. I don't know if breaking laws is evil. It depends. And we're lost. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with chat. One sec. And we're lost. We must be using evil, because when we're talking about breaking the law and evil, I'm talking about like moral. Like evil implies that like everybody, like anybody who sees you should attack you on sight. To me, that is what evil means. It means you are like literally anathema to human experience. So I don't think that just because you break a law, you are evil. Carmelo deserves capital punishment. I have not looked enough into that case at all. But it seems like people are very, very passionate about it with not enough information to be as passionate as they are. Anyways.
One country.
Also, again, I'm not going to sit here and get into a long argument with chat. I have not finished this. I've been streaming for how many hours now? I haven't finished this 30-minute video. If you guys want to argue with me about something, or you think I'm wrong about something, jump into the Discord, type in ! Discord. You can jump into a voice call with me and we can just have a conversation. But like spending my entire stream arguing back and forth with chat is starting to wear on me.
That you're not allowed to criticize here in America, no matter what your status is?
Well, I definitely stand for people's free speech. That is something that I'm on record doing, even speech that I disagree with. Let me tell you, probably a lot of people watching this show have said horrible speech against me, probably in my comments and all over social media. And probably on the show, you guys have probably said ugly speech against
Maybe don't be a pussy. Maybe jump into the voice call with me.
me. So but I still stand as a United States representative defending free speech. And I think
I'm not going to talk to you right now, Tiffany.
I defend free speech probably more than most members of Congress, including many Democrats that you say a lot of nice things about. And I want to make sure that for the record, everyone knows that I single-handedly came out so hard against a boycott bill that was going to be brought to the floor on Monday because I thought it was a violation of free speech, that I took it down. And it wasn't voted on this week. And because I believe America.
Really quick, there's 100 people watching on YouTube. People who do not know who I am and do not know who Tiffany Starr is. All right, there's no reason for me to do this right now. There's no reason. I'm not getting into this. I'm not talking to Tiffany right now, and I'd rather argue with someone.
Americans have the right to buy or boycott any product or country that they want. So I have a very strong record, as well as I've defended Julian Assange, Eric Snowden, and many others. So I believe our First Amendment and our free speech is incredibly important. I'm not familiar with this young lady's op-ed. I haven't read it, and I'm not familiar with the details of the story. So because I don't know all those details, it's hard for me to give you an exact opinion on this.
Yeah, I understand. Let's talk.
I don't know how. I don't know how you can be in Congress and not have like a strong opinion on that. I'm sorry. Let me not be for a second. She's pretending not to know about that because she knows it's bad. She knows that it looks bad for Trump.
Talk about that boycott bill for a second, because there was a Republican.
Sondsol, only one party is willingly violating the Constitution and defying the Supreme Court. Yeah, that's the Republican Party, Tiffany.
Right-wing revolt against it. So this is something that actually passes in America all the time. It's in a lot of states people don't know about it. But like, for example, Florida has a bill that if you boycott or you call for the boycott of Israel, they'll take your government contracts away. And you could be an American citizen, it doesn't matter. So I think it's absolutely outrageous, but normally it just passes with flying colors. Who led a revolt in this case that blocked that bill in the Congress?
That was me. I came out first with my opposition to the bill, and I announced that I would be voting no to this boycott bill, because again, I believe Americans should be able to buy or boycott whatever product or country that they want to. Look what we did to Budweiser. We
are literally deporting people with criminal records. 60 Minutes did an in-depth investigation. They called every single one of these guys. They called their family, their friends, their employers, their country of origins, the local municipalities. They did full background searches on every single one of the people named, shipped to El Salvador. And 75% of the people had no criminal record. Trust them, Lamau? Trump's White House didn't even argue against this. Yeah, how about the White House show us all of their criminal records? Because 60 Minutes is at least putting forward evidence. The White House isn't given evidence that all these people are criminals, because there isn't any.
Budweiser down. And that happened during the campaign, and that happened from MAGA, that happened from people on the right.
They've been arrested. They were complying with the immigration process. They were going and meeting with CBP. These were the people that were showing up for their court dates, and they got arrested at them. No, they weren't. That literally one of the biggest issues right now is they arrested a district judge because an illegal immigrant showed up for his immigration hearing, and they wanted to arrest him to deport him. They were arresting him at an immigration hearing.
So I believe in Americans' ability to be able to do things like that. But I don't lean into this. I think there's this movement that a lot of people are either they're for Israel or they're against Israel. I don't lean into any of that. I think Israel is a country that's doing just.
He was living with the judge? What? So all illegals are good? Oh, yes. Toby, that's exactly what I said. Thank you. Wow. I am astonished by your power of perception and understanding. I definitely said all illegals are good. None should be deported. And I'm wholly against ever doing anything good. I'm actually only for bad things. And I hate it when good things happen. I think if people want to deport the ones that are criminals, that's totally fine with me. If they want to deport people, that's fine with me. Honestly, at this point, have at it. The way that they're going about it and breaking the law and being like actual subhuman troglodyte freaks who have no respect for law, order, or morality, yeah, that part I have a problem with. And the fact that there are people in my country that would sit there and rabidly seal clap while the law is being flagrantly broken in front of them is beyond me. So why are you covering this nonsense and not covering something substantial like two nuclear powers going to war or Trump's apprehension of political opponents? Tiffany Starr, you have destroyed your brain with drugs and alcohol. Who the are you talking to right now? Shut the up and do not come at me about that shit. What the is wrong with you? Again, if you people, I'm not talking to Tiffany Starr. Middle is the only way. Listen, I'm centrist. I'm relatively centrist given the Overton window of the United States right now, okay? I'm a very reasonable person. It's just that a lot of unreasonable things are happening. Off, center, left. I am a radical capital L liberal. I love liberalism. I love free trade. I love abundance. Jason Smith, you can jump into the voice call. And everyone in chat, you guys can just keep on reminding them, all right? I don't want to sit here and argue with chat all night long. Let's listen to a little bit more of this. If you guys want to argue with me, jump into a voice call. Yeah. How is it unreasonable to deport people who come to our country illegally and ruin our economy? Because they didn't ruin our economy.
Fine on their own. They have a great economy. They certainly don't have the amount of debt that we have. They have their own nuclear weapons, and they've already demonstrated they have a very capable military.
New Mexico Judge Joel Cano. Oh, I don't know about that one. I know about the Wisconsin one. I can look into that one. I didn't know there was a New Mexico one as well.
Don't have the amount of debt that we have. They have their own nuclear weapons, and they've already demonstrated they have a very capable military. We have voted a lot of votes, a lot of resolutions against anti-Semitism in Congress. But for me and my public statements on this issue is that I would like to see in the House of Representatives, we need to be doing more votes and focusing on the agenda that we campaigned for and the American people voted for in November of 2024. And I would like to see us putting our country before other countries. And that's not a for or against or any of that stuff. I just think we need to focus on what the campaign was about.
Yeah. So look, you've taken a good deal of criticism on that issue of anti-Semitism, et cetera. So, and I get where it comes from. You know where it comes from. Having said that, I'll tell you my opinion in the next few years.
You don't conveniently know about that one? No, I just thought there was one in Wisconsin. I didn't know that there was one of someone living with someone in New Mexico. That's news to me. If you copy and paste the title of a video or of an article, I'll put it into Google. I'll look at it. But unrestricted abortion, sex changes in children, open racism towards white people, openly racist hiring standards, I would say are unreasonable radical things. Yeah, those are all topics that I have talked about today and 100% agree with. That is exactly everything that I've been talking about this entire time. 100% agree with them. 100% co-sign them. We should be changing the sex of every child the second it pops out the pussy so that we don't accidentally allow someone to grow up untransitioned, right? Because that would be really unfair to the transgenders. What the is wrong with you? Are you guys okay? You guys haven't heard the words that I've said because you've heard this guy doesn't like Trump, therefore I have to soy the out and lose my mind and assume that he has every bad opinion that exists in the world. No, maybe it's just the fact that I don't like Donald Trump and I have reasonable positions elsewhere. Maybe just you're very unreasonable about everything that you do.
For me, Israel's a foreign government. And so governments do things that are wrong all the time. I'm originally from Turkey. I'm a naturalized citizen here. And so do I like Turkey? Of course I do, right? But if Turkey's doing something wrong, I'm gonna call it out, right? And if we say, hey, you're not allowed to criticize Turkey, otherwise you'll, or boycott Turkey, otherwise we'll take away your government contracts, we'll arrest you, we'll deport you. I'd say that's outrageous, that's crazy. So, and that doesn't mean that you hate me as a Turkish American. That's also crazy. Just means the government is.
Why is he giving her so many? He's like trying to give her outs before she has a chance to say anything racist. It's like he's like, okay, this woman's on some crazy shit. This woman is on some crazy shit. But I think I need to do this for political reasons. So I got to make sure she doesn't say anything racist. I got to make sure that the second she could say something racist, I stop her from saying something racist. I can't trust this woman. That, like, it feels like that's how he's conducting this interview.
doing something wrong. So I think, I love our Jewish American.
There's a reason he's teabagging TYT and not Vosh, Kyle Kalinske, Jeff Wald. First off, I don't know who Jeff Waldorf is. Vosh hasn't. Where is Vosh? And Kyle Kalinske, I don't agree with his foreign policy, but I agree with his domestic policy. Mostly, I guess. I don't know. He's a little cringe, but Jeff is like you, but with a brain. You talk so much shit for someone who has never said anything intelligent in their life. Jesus Christ.
Brothers and sisters, and I think they're some of the best fighters for peace. And so to me, the issue of religion and the issue of a foreign government are completely separate. Do you agree with that?
Oh, of course. And you know what? Listen, I'm a Christian. My savior is a Jew, and that's Jesus. And so, look, I have no problem with Israel. I think they are doing great. They're a great country, as well as many other countries are. And criticism about anything is something I
don't like Trump, but he's a better option than any Dem put forth. Can you admit that at least? No, I don't think so. That's just not true. I legitimately think that Joe Biden hooked up to the golden throne on High Terra, all right? His rotting corpse controlling the empire would be better than Donald Trump right now, okay? Kamala had one or two cringe policies, but by and large was just like the same as Biden. Pete Buttigieg is kind of based. I don't know if there are any other Democrats that I would hardcore co-sign right now. What, name one Dems that's better than who? What the fuck? Get back in my Discord. Oh, damn! Listen. You know what? DM me. I'll explain to you. Okay, I don't want to, because I got 160 people watching on YouTube. I don't want to get into personal stuff. Why not Manchin? Because he's not even in office anymore. He retired. And Buttigieg wasn't put forth. Kamala was, right? I mean, like Kamala was put forth, but you're pointing at stuff that there are reasons for these things that are the best decision in a bad situation at the time. But like, yeah, it's true. You said go on your Discord. It's because you're drunk and derail every stream that you ever go on. That's the reason why I'm not dragging you into my Discord or into the call, Tiffany. Viewer number. I'm on YouTube Shorts. The average view duration is 30 seconds. I'm fine. I know that I'm not getting view botted. I would know if I was getting view botted. The stroke Fetterman is getting, dude, the Republicans must love strokes all the time, because Fetterman went from being like the most progressive member of the Senate to being like the most like demonic, like neocon, crazy conservative, dude. That shit's crazy. Jesus Christ. That person's going in timeout. That wasn't disagreement about Israel. That was hatred towards Jews. What are you talking about? So getting rid of Keystone XL pipeline on day one was a genius idea, destroying numerous jobs. The Keystone XL pipeline probably wasn't going to like it. I'm actually like not too upset about that. It probably wasn't like a great thing, but it wasn't going to create the amount of permanent jobs that everyone, I think it was like 34 jobs, 34 permanent jobs or some shit like that. And the reason I know it was that many jobs is because those jobs were going to be created in the city that I just moved from. So over a million temporary jobs to construct it, and then 34 permanent jobs. To assume I'm drunk is not only inaccurate but presumptuous. Yes, it is a presumption that literally every single time that I saw you, you were like blackout drunk trying to argue with people, and you didn't make any points. You seemed like a very nice person, but it was very difficult. And I'm past that. I'm an adult now. Did he get banned? Banned from what? Who? Yeah, I do view most shorts for about 30 seconds. Yeah, I mean, like, I know what the view count is. I know how many people have come through. Like, I have 12,000 views on this. I know that I'm not getting botted. Anyways, you're not an adult. I'm literally almost 30 years old. So yes, I am an adult. What about Tiffany? Is she Ghislaine Ayers? You can look up Tiffany Star on, I hope you're not at work. Don't look up Tiffany Star if you're at work. But if you want to see who she is, I'm sure you could find her. She's a streamer and she's a star of other. I disagree with your point of view. However, I respect the way you speak and are open to civil discourse. I mean, listen, here's the thing. If you guys are actually interested in what I've been saying so far and you're interested in anything, I encourage you, like, please, if you look, because I don't want to repeat all of this because a lot of it's pretty personal stuff that we went over at the beginning of stream. But look, we got stuff that we went over we got a full screen stream, and there was about an hour of stream at the beginning where we were just talking. If you want to see my full political outlook and feelings right now, that's where you should go. I'm not an unreasonable person. I am incredibly angry at my country, though, right now.
A pretty good reputation of criticizing things that I think are wrong. And,
that might be true, Tiffany. I might be giving up, but I can only do so much.
Referenced where I've been accused of anti-Semitism, but that was a headline and it was not the actual story. So you may have your facts wrong there on that. I'm not anti-Semitic. Not a single bone in my body is anti-Semitic. As a matter of fact, I think that one of the problems in this country is constantly accusing people of all kinds of hate, whether it's
Jesus Christ, and it's just like the snowflakiness. Like, again, I understand, and I was talking to a conservative content creator in DMs earlier today, and it's like, man, I get it. It when lefties call people racist, it's really soy. I get it, right? It sucks. It's really annoying. I hate lefties too. I used to be one. Okay, I get it. Lefties are annoying, but you can't go from these people are crazy, call everyone racist, to just like leaning into being racist. I miss old conservatives because there was disagreement over substantive things that would directly affect people's lives, and then there was those stupid culture war issues, and but like there was something to argue about. I don't know what to argue with you people about anymore because it's just like fact-finding missions back and forth. Nothing is wrong with racism. I heavily disagree. I think racism is really bad, personally. We'll talk about Doge later. We need to get through this. If you want to argue with me about something else, again, I'm not going to cuck my entire stream to this. I actually, I keep on saying that. I am cucking my stream to this. Jump into the voice call, okay? Like, there's 194 people watching on YouTube Shorts right now. Most of you people disagree with me. There's not a single one of you people. Yes, YouTube is pretty right-wing. That's, sorry. Fun DMs. I don't have Discord. Isn't there a call function over Twitter? DM me on Twitter. My ad is Sondsol. I'm pretty sure you can do no, maybe not. No, never mind. I thought that you could do... I could do a space, but I don't know how to set up a space. Okay.
Anti-Semitism, racism, being homophobic, all of these things. I think that what we need to focus on is that we're all people and making sure that we remember that humanity is something that's extremely important. And that's why we're having this chat tonight, is because we're both against all of these wars. And we need to make sure that we can take a stance in America that we don't want to be involved. We don't have to be involved. We don't have to be involved in every single conflict. And we don't need to go out and fight wars on behalf of foreign countries. As a matter of fact, we need to fix our problems at home.
Okay, well, I was going to go to the next topic, but you brought up that it was a false headline. So you're right, we have said some bad things about you.
This is the clip. This is the clip that I wanted to watch this video specifically to get to. After this clip, I think I'm actually done because it illustrates the entire conversation. It illustrates the entire conversation about how Jake is he's like an actual cuckold. He's like an actual cuckold to MAGA now. It is crazy to me. Listen to this. She just said, I'm not anti-Semitic. They all lie about me. They say so many mean things about me, and it's all just lies and headlines.
topic, but you brought up that it was a false headline. So you're right.
Mhm.
We have said some bad things about you. There's no question about that. And so, and it started with that issue of the space lasers, right? So you brought it back
Yeah,
up.
but I never said
Okay,
said
that's why I'm
Jewish
gonna
space
ask you.
lasers. So that's a lie. Yeah, it's a lie, and I really am tired of people
So
perpetuating
what do
the
you
lie.
mean you didn't say it? Just I'm trying to clear it up.
Now, let's see. Is Cenk gonna hear Marjorie Taylor Greene's explanation for spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about the Rothschild families and all of the Jew families of the world conspiring together to set California on fire using space lasers? Is he going to push back on that? Is he going to say, I think it's a little bit weird to assign all these Jewish families, all these intentions to set something on fire using technology that humans haven't created yet, but okay. Is he going to do that? Or is he going to let her just explain her point of view about how it's entirely possible that the Jewish space lasers actually set California on fire to open up a corridor for high-speed rail that never came to fruition? And then just move off the point. Which one? Chat. Which one do you think it is? Is it going to be A, push back, or B, cuck and allow the anti-Semite to speak? Toby says it's always the foreigners running their mouth. Actually, you have been running your mouth in my chat this entire time, not nutting up and talking to me voice to voice. I know it's not face to face, but it's about as close as we can get to it. Who's the one that's running their mouth? Anyways. So, chat, did we make a decision? Did we decide whether or not Cenk is going to do the good or the bad thing? Because let's see.
I never said that. I've never said that statement in my life, but there was someone that wrote an article, and that was the headline, and that's what they created. It was in early January of 2021 when I first came into Congress. And so it was an entire hit piece against me. And it was a statement I had never said in my life and never
So
even
that was-
heard of it until I saw it trending on Twitter attached to my name.
So that was not your Facebook account?
Of course, it was my Facebook account, but I never said Jewish space lasers, and I never blamed Jewish people or Israel for anything in my Facebook post.
Okay, now we have another clip right here. It's supposed to be the full reading of it. So let's just see.
Wildfires were ravaging hundreds of thousands of acres in California and killing 85 people. Marjorie Taylor Greene weighed in from Georgia on Facebook. In a post recently unearthed by Media Matters, Greene theorized a laser beam from space started the deadly 2018 California wildfire. Not just any laser beam from space, but one controlled by wealthy Jewish bankers who wanted to clear land in order to make way for a high-speed rail project. That's right, Congresswoman Greene seems to believe that wealthy Jewish bankers have a secret space laser that can immolate essentially any target on Earth. For those of you keeping score, this means that Greene traffics in anti-Semitism in addition to racism, Islamophobia, and xenophobia. House Republican leader...
Yeah, the Toby guy has gone off the rails. He can come back next stream when he's calmed down.
And you could read my Facebook post, and it's clear and obvious.
Okay. Are you worried about Elon's space lasers these days? Because they're like, I heard about this Golden Dome project. I know there's a little bit, it's just the adjacent topic, but let me ask you while we're here. So it would cost hundreds of billions of dollars, and theoretically it would be like Iron Dome that we gave to Israel where it protects the country, but it sounds like a giant boondoggle to me.
What are we
I don't
talking about?
think that they're gonna be able to pull that off. And isn't it a problem?
Statement I had never said in my life and never
So
even
that
heard
was-
of it until I saw it trending on Twitter attached to my name.
So that was not your Facebook account?
Of course, it was my Facebook account, but I never said Jewish space lasers, and I never blamed Jewish people or Israel for anything.
No, just like specifically a bunch of families of Jewish people who have been the center of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories for the past several decades, saying that Jews rule the world through financial institutions and that they're doing horrible things to us in the United States because they can, I guess. technology does exist for space lasers. Fact check it. Pretty well known. 2, look up the meaning of Young Turks. Whose side do you think we're on here, Panther Avis? Do you think we're on Cenk's side? Do you think we like Cenk? Do you think we don't know that the Young Turks was the name of some terrorist group from Turkey in the early 20th century? Panther Anus? You guys think that we're like, I don't know why you guys think I'm so scared to give an opinion on like literally anything. I'll answer any question.
In my Facebook post, and you could read my Facebook post, and it's clear and obvious.
Okay. Are you worried about Elon's space lasers these days? because they're like, I heard about this Golden Dome project. I know there's a little bit.
So we laugh and we move on. We laugh and we move on. Are you anti-Semitic? No. Let me explain to you why I shared that anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Well, what about Elon's space lasers? I do not understand how he can cuck himself so hard. I don't get it. I was told to end this segment with this. All the talk of which anchor I should interview VP Harris is hilarious. What difference does it make? They're all going to ask softball questions. This would be my first question. Why should we listen to any of your proposals since Democrats almost never deliver on their promises? Such strong words for Democrats. And he's so weak against Republicans. What the? He talks so strong. He talks so tough. He acts like such a macho man. But like all the sudden, when it comes to dealing with MAGA, he is just a little baby. Hey Sondsol, next time when you tell people to join your Discord for a discussion, actually commit. If you wanted to answer any question, you would have spoken with me. I didn't want to jump into Discord right now. Tiffany, jump into the Discord right now. I'm going to watch Star Trek with my GF. All right. What do we do next? I don't know in what world. I have not thought about Tiffany Starr in so long. And the last time we interacted, she just unloaded onto me while I was trying to be nice to her. And now she's Star Trek time, too late. No, I don't have time to stream tomorrow. I don't have a good impression of you, Tiffany. Be cool and not a brat. Tiffany, I don't know if you know this, but you left a bad impression on a lot of people that made it to where they did not want to talk to you for good reason. You don't get to act high and mighty when someone acts cagey about not wanting to talk to you. Maybe you're not an alcoholic anymore, and that's good, genuinely. Maybe you can string together like a couple of sentences without completely derailing and attacking me. But that'll have to be a conversation for later. Talk about the new Pope? I don't know. I don't have a strong enough opinion on anything to do with the Pope. Sorry. 51 Bard says they're in the Discord. They're not in the Discord. I'm looking at my Discord right now. There's no one else in a voice call. I have 2% Jewish blood. Is that enough to make me a Jew? True. We don't have to talk later. You can go have sex and play Star Trek or watch Star Trek. I don't care. How's that person going to blame me for? Yeah, they're blaming me for not wanting to talk to them when literally the last time that they were in this space, they were making the round, going Discord to Discord, drunk as and making everyone feel guilty for kicking them out of the call. Okay, bye. All you do is attack people if they think different from you. That's just simply not true. You might think that, but it's not true. Yes, and if you are criticizing, okay, you people need to tell me who you're talking to. Are y'all talking to me? Andrew Dick Rider time. Okay, I guess we can see what this is. YouTube is so toxic. Listen, I'm fine with the toxicity. Go watch your 30-year-old show. Oh, you're talking to her. I thought you were talking to me because I'm watching West Wing right now. One second, let me just respond to a text message. Okay. No one wants to talk to you. Thank you, Tiffany Starr. Is such any indictment from you, it cuts very deep. Tiffany lied, people died. You know what? Do you have pronouns? Adam, every human being on the face of the planet has pronouns. If you're asking if I'm non-binary, no. I'm not non-binary. TNG is the best show of all time. I've never given Star Trek a chance. It feels like something I would probably like, but I've just never given it a chance. I don't know what that means, Adam. By the way, if there's any questions that you guys want to ask, this is the time to ask them. All right. For people that are watching that have never seen me before, my name is Sondsol. I'm a political science student. I'm incredibly black-pilled and frustrated with everything, and I am aspiring to work on the Hill in DC. So I am plugged into all this. We talk about politics, we talk about drama, whatever. That's my plug. All right, take it or leave it. Follow the channel. All right. Do you like me or not? Am I handsome? Am I funny? Do I have a nice voice? There's a reason that you want to follow me or not. All right, follow me or not. All right. I like to argue with people. I like to get mad. Okay.